As COVID-19 reshaped society, entrepreneurs who launched their dreams on YouTube remain resilient and innovative.
With people at home, we knew there was a need for plumbing advice.
was a full-on experience.
At some point, you make a choice about who you are and what you want.
I'm a crazy drug flight attendant, not a killer.
Humans are more complex than I thought.
Raymour & Flanigan has the solution for your best sleep yet. Get a free adjustable base with the purchase of select mattresses. Plus, with free next-day delivery, you'll be sleeping better tomorrow night. Shop now at Raymour & Flanigan.
Your Best Buy. I need something else I can do with my dad. Maybe a really big screen TV and get us inside.
We've got great prices on awesome brands like Samsung, LG, and Sony.
whatever everyone is talking about on your go-to app for videos. Watch The New Mutants on YouTube.
The New Mutants.
Hello? Can anybody hear me?
There's bitter days ahead.
Dangerous being prophet during times of upheaval.
Soon he'll destroy all who stand against him. The Dark Man.
From the ashes of Captain Trips, we have risen!
So what happens now? You have a choice. You must make your stand.
That's done. Oh wow, you see that? Has like a little dent in it. It's all good though. You see it right there. Now you get rid of that. Spray a little water on it and heat it up with a hair dryer, and it'll shrink the fabric, and that little dent will go away. Just a little water and heat, it'll shrink it right back up. Just like if you wash and dry your shirt for the first time, how your shirts kind of shrink up, you can do that with this and get rid of those little bubbles and shit like that. But only thing now, I just gotta varnish this, and then this paint will be done, yeah. After a nice little varnish. I got one more. I'm gonna put a hanging wire on. Let me frame it with ya. Get me some hooks and wires and hang it with ya. Let me paint you a picture. Let me frame it with ya. Some hooks and wires. Let me hang it with ya. Like, let me paint a picture. Let me frame it with ya. Some hooks and wires. I can hang it with ya. Like, let me paint a picture. Let me frame it with ya. Hooks and wires, I can hang it with ya. Like, ooh, let me paint a picture. Frame it with ya. Hooks and wires, I can hang it with ya. Like, ooh, let me paint a picture. Let me frame it with ya. Hooks and wires, I can hang it with ya. We're gonna use some bigger hooks for this one because it's a bigger canvas. Let me hang it with ya. Like, oh, let me paint a picture. Let me frame it with ya. Hooks and wires, I can hang it with ya. Pictures worth 1,000 words. I done told 1,000 stories. I done rolled 1,000 blunts and smoked 1,000 herbs. This is my one true glory. Morning, and that's the morning. Let me paint a picture. Let me just kind of eyeball this thing to make sure it's kind of the wires level. I think that's pretty straight like that. another masterpiece. Yeah, I got that. Word.
This whole 15 minutes thing, that came from me. My first idea was, in 1/4 of an hour, your savings will tower. But that's not catchy. So I thought, 15 minutes, 15% serendipity. Geico.
Oh, damn. You know what?
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
not fall off a wall. When you hang it, that's gonna stay there. And wherever you hang it, it won't fall off the wall. Gotta make sure they don't fall off the wall. trying to find some shit to paint, yo. I got pictures in my phone that I've never used. I mean, in my phone, in my camera that I haven't used. It's just hard, like deciding, like, okay, what's gonna be the next painting.
Here's to reconnecting the gang of three we used to be.
Did you always talk like that? Does anybody trust you?
Have like some alright shots, yo.
Purchase your tracks today.
I just gotta narrow this shit down. Take a picture. Gotta get the perfect image. If you can imagine the shit that I've been through, yeah, you wouldn't take a fucking inch. Walk in my shoes. I've been paid my dues. I've been played by the rules. Now it's time to break them bitches. Fuck them snitches. All the haters grind to get my riches. Can't deny it, I'm the finest. I supply the highest, man. It's nothing but fire and I'm not a reciter, it's freestyle off the top of the dome. The camera in my hand and I'm still talking by the phone. That's how they got it mixed up and I... Oh. Alright, so I see like this one here might be a good one. Gotta take a picture. Get the perfect image. Oh. Yo, peace. What up, what up, what up, what up? Might do that shit.
Purchase your tracks today.
Got some nudie shots. Ooh, should I do another nude painting, yo? She said, this model said that she thought about it and then she's like, I don't know if I want a nude painting done to me. She got teenage kids and shit, and she's like becoming well known in the political realm, our local political arena. Like she's pushing for change and
Rent or buy the new.
like she's a real big activist in our area. So I mean, and it's tasteful nudity. It's not nothing gratuitous or nothing. And she's a really pretty woman. You know what I'm saying? So we did a outdoor shoot, an indoor shoot, and we did some nude, not nude, but like topless shots. And they look nice, and she liked them too. But she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want you to paint those though." I'm like, I get it, but hey, at least I got the pictures. The proof is in the pudding. I just need to actually print out some pictures today and start some new paintings because I'm getting low on artwork. I don't have anything else to paint. I got this painting I'm working on now, and I started that painting, and that's it. And I don't like that, so I need to start like at least 2 more paintings in the next couple of days. At least 2 or 3 paintings. at least get something on canvas. And it's not like some of my deeper, like philosophical, introspective stuff, or even like my reader series. I can just paint like pictures of beautiful people. Do a couple of those. You know what I'm saying? Nothing too deep, but still just beautiful black people. And until I work up this other idea about consciousness that I want to keep dabbling in uh, some abstract artwork, um, dealing with you know ideas and like pure concepts, intangible, something that's intangible like consciousness, and being aware that we are aware of our awareness. But how can you translate that into a painting? Cause it's fucking cool, man. Consciousness is cool as shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? I think, therefore I am. And so I've been playing around with that idea for a while, I did some paintings. I did one called Something from Nothing. And then I have another one called Conscious Conscience. Like you're conscious if you're awake, and you're unconscious if you get knocked out or put to sleep, or you're asleep, you're unconscious. That's just your surface level of awareness. But then your conscience, the I, when you say I want this, that I that is speaking, that's your consciousness. So I have this piece called Conscious Conscience. Like your conscience is actually awoke and it's aware. I don't know. You get it though? You understand what I'm trying to? You see where I'm going with this? No, you don't. It's all good, man. Cause it confuses me a little bit, but that's the cool part about it. Cause it's art, and I'm grasping at these ideas and trying to put them in a visual form, and then I leave that shit up to y'all. However you want to interpret that shit, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? So don't come asking me too many questions, because I ain't gonna have all the answers either. I'm still trying to figure some shit out. But print pictures, it's just been so nasty. Like it snowed real bad a couple of days ago, and it's just like sticking to the ground, and it's been here for a couple of days. It's everywhere, and it just makes everything so slow and nasty outside. And I've really been procrastinating on going to get some pictures printed. I just need to invest in a nice picture printer, or even I had a tablet. I used to just download my images onto a tablet and use the tablet to paint from, but then I broke my tablet. So that shit was old as hell anyway. I need some newer shit. I want something I can draw on too, like one of the newer iPads with the pen, and you can like draw and shit on the pad and do like some digital art, because I ain't never really tried that shit before. Yeah, it's terrible out there. Anybody want to go out and do that shit?
On YouTube.
So I beat the main quest line for Cyberpunk last night. Well, this morning, like 2 o'clock this morning. I was playing that shit, yo. But the ending is weird, yo. It's like I don't know. It seemed like there was more options, but as you got closer to the end, the options started getting narrower and narrower, and then at the final, you like got these the last choices, like you got these two options, and it's like fuck, like I don't know. The last option is hard as shit, but what I chose, Like, fuck that shit, yo. And then I thought it was gonna be like something after that, and it's not. You know, once you make that last decision, like that's the end of the game. I was like, damn. So that's what really. Now I really want to see, like, I might have to YouTube the alternative ending, or I think there may be 3 different endings you can get. But now I want to I definitely want to play through the or at least see someone play through the other option for the ending, because it's like 2 completely different things, yo. So, but I don't know. I think I put like 40 hours on that game, and I don't know. I did most of the side quests. There's still like a handful of side quests that I didn't do, but I finished most of that shit, yo. Damn near everything. In like 40 hours. All right, so we did a little bit this morning so far. I had 3 paintings that are finished. Try not to cough. So I had 3 finished paintings that didn't have wires on it, so they can hang on the walls like these are hanging, nice and even like. So I put wires on 3 paintings so far. It took a couple minutes to get that shit done. But I'm gonna jump right into the art this morning. Let's work on her jacket some more. Just trying to get some highlights on there. Get like the wrinkles in the fabric to look foldy and realistic like. And it shouldn't be that much because her hoodie is black, you know what I'm saying? And it's mostly in shadow. So I'm just really gonna like black this whole thing in just to get a layer of wet paint, of wet black on there, and then come back with some grays and just like carve out some some folds in the fabric. Like I said, I'm looking at it right now, and to the point I'm at, it really shouldn't be too much because it's almost solid black where the rest of it is at. So let's see if we can knock this part out real quick. Anything in particular you guys want to listen to this morning? I was listening to this one episode of Bright Insight. I listened to it over and over because almost anybody could have done the same thing that he did, because there's like tons of different people with documentaries and personal footage of all these different sites around the world that we know about, and they're called like megalithic sites where they have giant stones, like big ass giant stones that weigh like several tons. And it's like, why are the stones so big? Who the fuck built this shit? And they're so fucking old. And so he goes through all the different places that we know of that have very similar structures and very similar stone building techniques, and he makes the conclusion that the similarities in these civilizations from the Americas to North Africa to Japan, civilizations that are separated by continents and oceans, but are so similar that you just can't ignore the similarities, like the step pyramids or pyramids in general, but the step pyramids are like, okay, so people just, on a whole different continent just decided, oh, this is the best way to build this structure. It don't work like that. And then you find different aspects of the structures that are similar. And it's like, what the fuck are we missing out on? Like, what information are we missing, really? Because there is clear evidence that there was something before us. Yeah, there was some global civilization prior to what we know today. And I don't know. I watched that video a couple times. I was thinking about watching it again. It's hard to like really get the full thing because he shows a lot of pictures, and I can't show all the pictures on that shit, but my bad. I got stuck on Facebook real quick. So yeah, no suggestions on what we should listen to? No? I might see what the the latest Joe Rogan podcast is talking about.
Thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's a privilege and an honor.
Listen, man, you command a tremendous amount of respect
the more people I talk to you, the more the respect grows. The more people I talk about you, rather. It's a pleasure to meet you and a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise, bro.
Josh Dugan loves you too.
Oh yeah, the feeling is mutual.
Yeah, I love that dude.
Yeah, me too.
He's a good man, and the stuff that he does on the side, outside of boxing, and the stuff that he does with the Innocence Project is really amazing.
Yeah, he's an awesome friend to have as well.
Yeah. So we got a lot of shit here, man. We got your loyalty brand. You've got champagne. You've got wine. You've got what's this?
That's the Merlot.
This is Merlot, and you have a Cabernet as well.
And Rosé.
I love a man that's involved in a lot of different things.
Well, I'm just trying to diversify my portfolio.
But that's always been the case with you, right?
Yeah, pretty much so.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
You are responsible for a tremendous amount of the music that I listened to, especially when I was a young man. Like, you put together the Ghetto Boys. Willie D was on here, and he explained the whole story to us, that you're the one who talked him into being into the Ghetto Boys. Like, he was like, no, I want to be on my own. He did it as a favor to you.
Yeah, that's a true story. I actually had got rid of the other set of Ghetto Boys because they felt like I was too deep and they couldn't relate to some of the subject matters I wanted them to write to.
Like what kind of subject matter?
Well, just real life situations. You know what I mean? Like real street things that I was living. And they were spitting more Tonka Toy type of raps. You know, they was following the trend of the East Coast at the time. And I realized that we're from the South and we just had different stories.
Like, what was the stories of the East Coast? Like, what was the difference?
Well, more commercial. You know, back then, the East Coast was more commercial. This was a time when Run DMC, LL Cool J, you know, the hardcore rap hadn't hit the scene yet. So down south, we were considered rebellious at the time because we came with a different flavor. You know, we came with ghetto stories. That's one of the reasons I named the group the Ghetto Boys, because I knew it was ghettos all around the world that had a voice, and we became their voice.
Well, it was also, there were songs that they were very unconventional, like Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. Like, that's an unconventional song, like, and it shows like a vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like talking about the pressure of that life really fucking you up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There was a lot of that in the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah.
There was a lot of layers to it. If you looked at it on the surface, you would think just gangster rap, but there was a lot of thinking behind that music.
Oh, most definitely. And that was part of what we done together. We brainstormed together because we wanted to make sure we tapped into everybody that didn't have a voice. You know, a lot of the things, such as the Mind Playing Tricks song, for example, you know, there was a lot of individuals that was like numb to that lifestyle of what would actually take place of inner city kids. And we were able to make that like real visual.
It's fascinating to me, all the different things that you've touched, you know, that you've gotten into. Like, first of all, how did you get started in the rap game? Like, what got you into?
I got in the rap game because of my brother. His name was Sir Rap-A-Lot. So I actually named the company after him. And I was encouraged to do it because, you know, he was a rapper. At the time, you know, I was hustling a different way, and I didn't want my brother in the streets. So I'm like, you go in the studio, I'm going to support you in the rap world. But ultimately, my brother decided not to stay in the rap game, and we got him like 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many stories like that, right? Like, dudes had one foot in and 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the rap game is inextricably tied to people that are in that world, right? You can't fake it in the rap game. It's one of the rare genres of music that has so many people that are both in and out of that world.
Yeah, a lot of people fake it to a certain extent, you know, because they tell stories of what they observed or what they saw. You know, a lot of individuals hadn't actually lived the rap that they rap about, but they witnessed it from some perspective, so it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's maybe the only music genre that is so connected to crime. If you really stop and think about it, crime and poverty is such an immense part of the rap world.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a real reflection of what goes on in the world we come from.
You know, that's one of the most interesting things about it. Like when rap music became really popular, one of the things I was saying to Willie, when Willie D was here, I was like, you're a pioneer of a new art form that came about. Like when the Ghetto Boys came about, which was like late 80s, is that what it was?
Yes.
When the Ghetto Boys emerged, we had only been looking at hip hop for a decade, right? It had only been around for 10 years. I mean, you were at the ground floor of what is now one of the biggest genres in all of music. And it was one of the first genres that showed that life and showed the life of these inner city hustlers that were trying to get out and try to do better for themselves. And in the case of the Ghetto Boys, show the pros and the cons and show the psychological effects of that life.
No, a true story. And one of the things we done, like on the East Coast and the West Coast, you know, they had access to a lot of power where the major record labels were concerned. Down in Houston, in the South period, we had no access to any of that kind of power. So we was left to like figure it out and do it on our own. So when I laid the foundation in Houston, I basically learned from trial and error. And I had to figure it out, and I did, and we laid a foundation that's relevant today.
So you got into it to help your brother, and then how did you get a part of the Ghetto Boys? How did that get going?
Well, I researched Houston inside out. You know, I went to like every area in Houston and kind of, you know, just tapped into all the artists. And I ran into Scarface one day. I stepped out of a club and he was playing his music for a DJ by the name of Steve Fournier. And I overheard it and I was sold from what I overheard. And I basically took Scarface with me that night. We went to breakfast and, you know, I kind of convinced him that I had a group named the Ghetto Boys that I wanted him to be a part of. And the same thing happened with Willie D. My barber, I think, was telling me about Willie D. We had the same barber in Fifth Ward, and I got with him and basically told him the same story. And then there was Bushwick, and Bushwick, you know, was around before either of those guys were around. But I just shared my vision with them. It was important that they embrace my vision because I just got rid of a group of guys that wasn't feeling me. They told me I was too deep. So after that, you know, I just made it my priority to pick these guys up every day. You know, I drove and picked them up every day to make sure they showed up in the studio.
So whatever happened with the guys who told you were too deep? They ever call you back and go, "Oh, we fucked up"?
But you know, I'm thankful for two of those guys because, you know, I tell this story all the time. These two guys I made a deal with them. If they go to school, I would support them in rap. And they went to school and they would go to my grandmother's house after school every day. And after my brother had left, I kind of lost interest in the music game. And she called me one day and she said, "James, you need to keep your word. These guys are going to school. They come here every day practicing." And, you know, I tell everybody that's how I got blessed beyond my expectation, by keeping my word.
Keeping your word is a theme that you discuss very often. Respect and keeping your word.
True.
How did this evolve for you as a man? Like when did this become of extreme importance in your life?
I think it began with my mother, you know, my father. You know, I believe more is caught than taught. So I was observing the things of substance, such as respect and things like that. They put it in me. So, you know, I tell everybody it's kind of in my DNA to a certain extent.
I like that phrase. More is caught than taught.
Yeah.
That's true.
Real true.
Yeah. I think about that around my own kids.
Oh, yeah. They're watching.
They observe. Yeah. And if you slip, like if I'm slipping, my kids let me know.
Oh yeah.
They let me know, and you're like, oh Jesus, you're paying attention.
Oh yeah. You know, your other words, your lips gonna have to match your actions.
Yes. Yeah. When children think you're a hypocrite, those are rough kids to raise because they don't have any respect for you.
True.
Yeah. So you start out with, you had Willie D, you had Scarface, you had Bushwick Bill, and these guys didn't necessarily know each other. Like Willie knew Bushwick from the clubs, but wasn't tight with him, right?
Yeah, it wasn't really even. He didn't really even know him. I think they had a run-in, somewhat of a confrontation in the club, but they didn't really know each other other than Will, I think, drop kicking Bushwick.
That sounds like Willie.
Yeah.
And how difficult was it to get them together and get them to coordinate and get the music to go well?
It was somewhat difficult because everybody was solo artists and everybody wanted to do their own thing. And my thing was to them, okay, let's unite our power. Let's unite our power together, and we become a stronger force than being separate. And, let's do this my way, and after this, we'll do solos. So I think that made sense to him.
Well, the way Willie talks about you, when Willie was like, I'm going to be on my own, but Jay Prince asked me to do it, so I said, all right. Like, literally that. Like, that's rare. When a guy like Willie D is like, okay, he respects you so much, he's willing to do that for you when he wanted to be a solo artist.
Yeah, that's true. And Scarface as well. But, it always been a mutual respect where we all was concerned. And, it made sense. Let's unite the power. That helped. It was that mentality that opened the doors for the whole Houston. Like a lot of artists today try and, separate their powers. They don't understand the unity of the power is what opened the door for the city.
How did you figure that out early on?
I just figured it out from being a football player, a baseball player, a team player. It's certain ingredients that just work, together versus being separate. Unlike boxing, boxing, you're in the ring by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing you've been involved in too, which is amazing. You've been involved with some of the greatest fighters of all time: Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward. I mean, how did you transfer from? Well, you started off. You owned like a car dealership, right?
Yeah.
Was that your first big business?
Pretty much so. I started off at a car dealership. All my life, I had this love for cars. And
me too.
And my cousin, by the name of Eric Blakely, he used to put model cars together, all on his dresser. And I didn't have any model cars. I couldn't really afford model cars, but I would look at those cars and be like, oh, I'm going to have a car like that one day. I'm going to have a car like, envision myself in them cars. And I ended up purchasing every car that I dreamt of being in.
Did you have like a checklist?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you opened up this car dealership, did you do that with that end goal in mind, or did you just do it as a business?
I done it as a business. That was business. The ownership was personal. I done it as a business because I had relationships with all the athletes, with all the D-boys, all the hustlers in the streets. So I'm like, I could make some money in the car salesman business. And my son, mother, Jazz, his mother, Carla, her father was a car dealer. So everything just kind of connected. And I'm like, okay.
And so did you use that to, like, as a springboard to get into the rap game?
Yeah, most definitely. I became the #1 car seller, profit-wise, on a street called Shepherd Drive in Houston, Texas in 1 year. You know what I mean? And I couldn't believe it. We all had the same accountant. And the accountant, doing taxes, she came to me. She's like, you made the biggest profit out of everybody on it? I said, well, how did you know that? How do you know that? She said, because I'm the accountant. I'm like, wow, are you serious? She said, yeah, you made the biggest profit. So, that was inspiring.
And this was just because of your relationships with all these other people?
Yeah.
That they wanted to do business with you?
Well, I say relationships and my work ethic. you know, because I got a relentless work ethic.
So how do you get into boxing from there? You get into the rap game was the Ghetto Boys your first band?
Yeah, pretty much so. The Ghetto Boys was my first group. When boxing came along, boxing was my first love. You know, I got distracted by the music game by boxing because of the music game. I always wanted to be a boxer, but it wasn't any gyms in Fifth Ward, you know. So I always said to myself, if I ever make it, I want to build a boxing gym, a recreation center in my hood. And that's what I done. And shortly after I done that, I had an opportunity to go in the gym and I started watching the amateurs. And I just kind of fell in love with boxing all over again, and which ultimately led me, I prayed for a champion. Everything I tried to accomplish in life, I always exercised prayer. It worked for me. So I prayed for a champion, and I set up a meeting with Mike Tyson in Las Vegas, and I went to Las Vegas.
What year is this?
This had to be 99 or 2000. So, you know, I knew a friend that knew Mike, and Mike, you know, accepted the invitation because he was familiar with my movement where Rap-A-Lot was concerned. And I flew out there with my focus on Mike, and man, I walked into him sparring, and I was like, you know, I was on cloud nine because I had never saw him, you know, in person sparring. It was always at a fight. And I walked in and he was throwing leather with another heavyweight, and I was like starstruck. And in the midst of watching this sparring, Floyd Mayweather came in the gym. And Floyd, you know, I didn't know who he was. He kept coming to me, yo, Jay, man, I know about your group. You know, he's calling groups out. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, bro. I'm zeroing back in on Mike. Boom, boom, boom. Floyd come over again. Yo, Jay. Man, I know about this group here, man. And Jay, if you want to do something later on, you know, this is my number. I'll come pick you up. I'm like, all right, brother. Okay. Focus on Mike. I don't know who Floyd is, right? So afterwards, you know, me and Mike go to his house to have a meeting that I came to have because my objective was to become his manager, to be on his management team. And he and I met for an hour. He got his ex-wife on the phone. And, you know, I was pretty much convinced I was on the team after the meeting and everything took place. And, you know, hung with him all night. The next day, I tried to reach Mike, and I couldn't reach Mike. And I was left with Floyd number. And I asked my friend, I said, who number is this number right here? He said, oh, that's Floyd Mayweather, the 130-pound champion. So, bam, a red light went off in my head because I prayed for a champion. Long story short, me and Floyd was in business together less than a week.
That's crazy.
I was his manager.
You didn't even know who he was?
I didn't know. No idea.
That was when he was Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah.
That was before Money Mayweather.
Exactly.
Yeah. He had a totally different style back then, too. He was much more aggressive. Went for the knockout more.
Yeah, well, I think he used his legs a lot more then. But if he saw the opportunity, he definitely went in for the kill. But, you know, his whole image was different before I came about.
Well, he had a lot of hand problems, right? Like he's had several hand breaks.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a break, but I know we eventually had to get a specialist to wrap his hands because, you know, he would hurt him a lot.
Yeah. And do you think that affected his style? Is that like, because he developed a very defensive style as he got older?
I think that's a part of confidence. I think that's a part of evolving as a fighter. You know, in the beginning, I think Floyd used his legs much more. Mm-hmm. But as he evolved with experience, he got comfortable, you know, with
shoulder
the defense.
Roll and defense.
Yeah.
Greatest defense of all time.
Oh, man.
Of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
I had my friend Andrew Schultz on here yesterday, and we were talking about it. We're like, he might have got hit hard 4 times in his career, which is insane. 50-0 and got tagged 4 times, which is unthinkable.
No, he's amazing, but his work ethic is amazing. You know, the guy got to work. You know, I've had opportunity to like witness a lot of fighters' work ethic. Andre Ward's and Floyd Mayweather work ethic is unlike any fighter I ever saw.
Yeah, you don't get there without it.
Exactly.
Because there's so many talented people. There's so many athletic people. There's so many fierce dudes. But to be a champion, you need everything. You need gifts. You need athletic gifts. You need a sharp mind. You need a passion for the technical aspects of the game. But you got to have that ethic. If you don't have that work ethic, you never keep it going. You always fall short of your expectations. And without naming any names, we all know those champions that could have been great, but they got fat in between camps and they just never trained as hard as they should have. And I mean, some of the all-time greats suffered from it, like Roberto Duran after he beat Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray knew it, capitalized on it, and forced a quick rematch when he knew that Duran was fat. Duran was partying and drinking, and a guy like Floyd Mayweather never did that. Never got out of shape.
Man, he would, Floyd was the type of fighter that would party with everybody, but no drinking, no smoking. He'd sit back and watch and observe the whole movement.
I remember watching a video of him leaving a club in Vegas. It showed him at the club, hanging out with everybody, leaving the club at 2 in the morning running.
Oh, yeah. We used to do that all the time.
Yeah. Regular pants on.
We would watch fights together, and right after the fight, he was ready to run. Jay, ain't nobody gonna catch me slipping. The only way they can beat you is catch you out of shape. They ain't gonna catch me slipping. Take off running down the strip.
It's amazing. And having his brother, or having his Uncle Roger, and having his father, 2 world-class fighters, and having grown up seeing these guys, seeing his uncle, when Roger Mayweather was a champion, he had a vicious style. He was, his right hand was a thing of beauty. I mean, people forgot. Like, I was watching some Roger Mayweather fights the other day, and to have his father, a guy who, gave Sugar Ray Leonard a hell of a fight. There's so much talent, there's so much knowledge and understanding of boxing in that family, to grow up with that and to have that mindset like Floyd has, where he's observing and watching everything. That dude just absorbed everything.
Oh, yeah. And not only watching, he had to spar with Roger. So you talking about, having to learn how to protect yourself against the best as a kid. So, he had access to a lot of power, and evidently, there's no doubt about it, it benefited him in a major way.
It's just amazing when you see that consistent formula of work ethic. That work ethic there's no getting around it. Everyone who gets great at everything and maintains that greatness has to have that work ethic.
Yeah. No, that's true. Even Michael Jordan explained, how he exercised his work ethic. I tell a lot of people your work ethic, has to match your talent.
Jamie brought over some glasses. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Try some of this wine out, sir.
Loyalty. All right.
What are you, a Merlot man or a Cabernet man?
Well, I'm both of them.
What do you prefer? It's up to you.
Let's try some Cab.
All right. Which one is this?
This Merlot.
Where are you growing this stuff?
In Paris, in France.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting them good grapes.
You got a relationship with people in Paris, too?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I even have a heavyweight by the name of Tony Yoka, the 2016 gold medalist. That's from Paris.
Really?
Yeah, that's my fight as well.
Is he training here in America, or is he training in France?
Both. Yeah, he come and go.
How does that work now with COVID? Is he stuck over there?
Yeah, as of now, he's been over in Paris for the last few months. So I think he'll be back in February or March. Yeah.
The boxing business is a crazy business because boxers are crazy. There's no way, you got all the dedication and all the, hard work and intelligence and ring IQ, but you also have crazy people.
Yeah, but it's no worse or no crazier than the music industry.
Right, so you're prepared for it.
Yeah, I've been prepared, and there are 2 cutthroat businesses.
Cheers, sir.
Health, wealth, and love.
Health, wealth, and love.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Nice, smooth. Right?
Yeah, I'm a fan of wine. I don't know too much about it, but that's very smooth.
Yeah.
What part of France is this grown?
Oh, man. I don't know exactly the part, but it's in It's in France, and I went through a lot of grapes to come up with this blend. You know,
so you personally involved in selecting everything as well?
Oh yeah.
Do you know a lot about wine? Do you have a background in wine, or you just know what you like?
Well, let me tell you the story how I got in the wine business. You're not from Texas, but those that are from Texas know to remember this doctor definitely in Houston by the name of Dr. Red Duke. He was a surgeon in Houston, and I heard him speak about the health benefits where wine was concerned one day, and he was talking about the how wine is good for your heart, your blood, the antioxidants, all of these things. And I became, kind of sold where wine was concerned. And during my winding down time, I started sipping a little bit. And ultimately, that led me to Napa Valley, where I was able to go to quite a few vineyards. I was actually negotiating on purchasing a vineyard. So I got opportunity to view things from the business perspective. And that kind of led me to where I'm at today.
That's a serious baller move when you own a vineyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't trust the governor of California. He owns a vineyard. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. You're supposed to be serving the people. You're not supposed to be balling.
Yeah.
When you own a vineyard, you're a baller.
Yeah.
That's a baller move. You're out there sipping, cheers, like
right.
people.
Yeah.
Someone's bringing over hors d'oeuvres.
Right. You can only imagine they mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely mixing up. That's some gangster shit. You own a vineyard. That's why you can't trust a politician with a vineyard, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't trust them without vineyards. So.
Exactly, but with a vineyard, there's something about owning a vineyard.
Yeah, that's icing on the cake.
It's a status symbol. It's a beautiful status symbol. My good friend Maynard, he's the lead singer of the band Tool. Yeah. He's got Caduceus Vineyards. He owns his own vineyard in Arizona. And there's something about the creation of wine. It's a different kind of artistic pursuit. It's an art that your taste buds take in and appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've developed a deep respect for wine. I don't know much about it, really, unfortunately. I don't have a lot of time to really learn about wine, but I know good wine, and this is very good.
Thank you.
This is delicious.
Toast to loyalty. Well, you just said a mouthful, though. The taste buds is the key, Wes.
Yeah, it's an art form for your taste. When you get a good glass of wine.
Ford, the one that assembles more vehicles in the U.S. than any other manufacturer. Built for America. Built Ford proud. Based on IHS.
Then you're like, oh yeah, that's good. That's smooth. This is like a great wine with a steak.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you met Floyd, he was the 130-pound champion.
Mm-hmm.
And did you just immediately started working with him?
Yeah, but it was a process, and it wasn't easy because I came into a situation where his father and his uncle was his manager, and I wasn't embraced, with love, because they kind of felt like I was imposing on a situation. He had a $12 million contract on the table at the time I came in that everybody wanted him to sign. And Floyd called the contract a slave contract before I came, but they blamed me for him calling the contract a slave contract. So
what was the provisions in the contract that he didn't like?
Well, he just thought 12 million wasn't enough. You know what I mean? And ultimately I had to go in and do some damage control. And one of the things that I told him when I met him, I said, if I can't make this better, I don't want to eat off of your 12 million that already been offered to you. So I had opportunity to have a meeting with Seth Abraham, at the time was the president of HBO. And I pretty much just asked the guy, how could we get around this $12 million contract? How can I make this a bigger contract? And at the time, he told me about the fighter named Diego Corrales. He was like, if you all would be willing to fight Diego Corrales, then this could jump up to 35 million or so if y'all was able to beat Diego Corrales. And, that was interesting to me. I went home and done some due diligence on Diego Corrales at the time. And at that particular time, Diego had jumped on his ex-wife and kind of beat her up. He had charges, kind of done her pretty bad. Bad to the extent where he was facing jail time. And I saw that, and I went back to Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's a perfect time to fight Diego Corrales. I said, I even have a marketing tool. We can whoop him for every battered woman in the United States of America. So he heard me out, but he wasn't embracing it. No, Jay. It ain't time to do that right now. No.
So he didn't want to fight Diego because of Diego's skill set?
Well, I don't want to say Floyd was scared, but at the time, everybody thought Diego could beat Floyd. He was like 30-0 with 29 knockouts.
Diego was a wild man.
Yeah, Diego was a knockout artist. And he just felt like it wasn't the time. I talked to him for like 4 hours and couldn't convince him. So I decided to go home. And I went home about 6 in the morning, and I woke up about 11 in the morning with a message from him. Yo, Jay, I hired you, as my manager, and if you think I should fight him, I'll fight him. So it was then where, I was celebrating. I'm like, whoa, we finna get Diego. So I called the people at HBO, and they told me they didn't have a date. They wouldn't have a date to next year or something like that. And it was then I decided to use some of my record label talents. I had to build my record company without having video, without having radio, just pulling publicity stunts. So I told Floyd, I said, here's what we're going to do. Lennox Lewis and David Tour was fighting at the Mandalay Bay. I said, during the press conference, I'm hearing Diego's supposed to come to that fight. I say, during the press conference, we're going to surround Diego. I'm going to have the homies to surround Diego. And I want you to come and just push it, and we're going to stop the fight, right? It ain't going to be no free fight, but you go and get your push in on it, and we're going to stop it. We're going to steal the show. That was my objective. And that came to fruition. We went and stole the show at the press conference. That was Saturday night. Sunday, we was on the front page of the Las Vegas Time. And, Monday or Tuesday, I called them, and they said, we got a date for you.
I love that you're telling me this because I always wonder. Yeah. I always wonder when I see those kind of altercations, how many of those are coordinated by a wise man who understands publicity?
Quite a few, I would say.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? It's marketing. Yeah. Which brings me to one thing. One of the things that's going on right now with Floyd is he's going to fight Logan Paul, who's this YouTube star, which is... It's so crazy that a dude who is a YouTube star, who's a good athlete, he's had a couple of boxing matches and was a very good wrestler.
Yeah,
he's gonna box the greatest boxer, arguably of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to look at accomplishments, Floyd Mayweather is in the argument as the greatest of all time.
Oh yeah,
boxing is a sport of being hit. Or hitting rather, and not being hit.
Exactly.
Floyd is the very best ever at that. No one's ever stopped him. No one's ever even come close. I mean, it's amazing. What he's done is amazing. And a lot of people say, oh, he waited until Manny Pacquiao was past his prime before he fought him. Well, that's a smart thing to do if you want to stay 50-0. I mean, if you look at his career, he fought all the great fighters, but he did it on his terms. When he fought Canelo, made Canelo get down like 152, I think it was?
Yeah.
Like, every move he does is perfectly calculated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to, you just can't make excuses where Floyd talent is concerned. He one of the best.
Undeniable.
To do it.
Undeniable. No one, whatever your opinion of him is, undeniable how talented he is. Undeniable.
No, I mean... He went in and demolished Diego Corrales.
Yes.
But I fell in love with Diego Corrales' heart afterwards. So Diego ended up going to jail and doing like a year or two prison time. And I went in prison and signed Diego Corrales. You know, I signed him in
Did
jail.
you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I got the blessings from Floyd. I said, Floyd, you have a problem with me working with Diego? He's like, no, he good, James. Nobody, just because I done him like that don't mean nobody else could do him like that. So,
what was that one wild fight he had where he came close to getting stopped and he stopped the dude? It was one of the fights that made him. Do you remember who his opponent was?
That was, oh boy, that's the guy that they thought beat Floyd. You know, everybody say he beat Floyd the first fight. Floyd fought him, Castillo.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Castillo. You know, they claim Castillo beat Floyd the first time, and Floyd fought him again and demolished him.
Yeah.
But that was the best fight I ever saw in my life with him and Diego.
What a fight. Yeah. Crazy.
And I tell you what was, I tell you what was really strange about that. So a couple years after that, on the same day, Diego got killed almost around the same time. You know, right on the next street behind my Las Vegas place. And I was called, and you know, his wife was like, somebody said Diego had a motorcycle accident. So I rushed on Fort Apache, and there Diego was on the same exact day. You know, his biggest victory. A couple years later, the same day.
Yeah, that was a bummer when he died, because there's a lot of those dudes like that are just wild dudes, and you can't stop them from being wild. To have a career like he had, to make the kind of money that he had, and still be just going crazy on motorcycles. Yeah. Like, what makes them great sometimes does them in is that heart, that courage, and the willingness to face fear.
Yeah.
Some guys get addicted to that. They just they get addicted to that feeling of just you know it's dangerous. You know you shouldn't be doing it. And you can't help yourself. You gun it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's something about the motorcycles that make you want to gun them.
Oh, they're so thrilling. They're
too thrilling. Speed, you know. I have to watch myself on the bikes. I'm like, man.
Do you still ride?
Not as much as I used to, but I like the Harleys.
You know? Yeah, that's a better move.
Yeah.
Slower, more control.
That's what I was trying to get Diego on, but he told me that's an old man bike.
Well, it's got a point. I came real close to getting my motorcycle license, but when I was going through the whole thing and, you know, going through classes, and 3 people I know, one person saw someone get hit, and 2 people I know crashed. One crashed and really fucked up his shoulder. Another one got hit by a car. Some old man ran a light and T-boned him and snapped his leg in half. And I was like, this is just too much.
Yeah, I kind of witnessed like 3 or 4 accidents in 1 year that made me decide to slow down on the ride.
I was passing on the highway and I saw this dude laying down. They had a blanket over him.
Yeah.
And his bike has crashed. He's laying down. He's got a blanket over him, but you can see like his chest and his head. He's still alive. Yeah. And he was just screaming in agony. And I don't know what the fuck was going on under the blanket, but they wanted to cover it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. It's a terrible way to go. But when you're on it, it just seems like so much fun.
Yeah, it's a high.
Yeah.
You know, it's a high of freedom and, you know, the wind and everything. You know, it's like flying like a bird.
Yeah.
You know? I just went there for a minute.
I know. Yeah. So many fighters love them, you know. And again, it's the thing. It's like what attracts them to fighting in the first place is they're the type of people that face fear. They enjoy overcoming fear. They enjoy the thrill.
Right.
You know? Floyd never fucked with bikes though, did he?
Nah.
Too smart.
Yeah. No, he never done.
Too smart.
Yeah.
You know, the Diego Corrales fight with Floyd was a defining fight. But you know, one of the things that when people point to Floyd, I say, look at the Maidana fights, because Maidana gave him some difficulty in the first fight, but in the second fight, Floyd boxed his ears off.
Yeah.
All right, just a little bit more on this piece right here.
Trunks with gold lettering, hailing from and representing its home of Empalme, Sonora, Mexico. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 135 pounds. His record stands in 52 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw, with 46 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the two-time and current WBC lightweight champion of the world, introducing Jose Luis Temible Castillo. Once again, our referee in charge, Tony Weeks, now to give instructions. Amigo, ¿ustedes reciben sus instrucciones? Mira, aquí está bien, aquí no. Mira, aquí está bien, aquí no. ¿Tiene cintura para arriba? ¿Te quieren una play limpia? Escúchame, cuídate. ¿Listos? Vamos. On the same day as the Kentucky Derby, we'll see two of boxing's top thoroughbreds hoping to power their way to glory. Until now, Castillo could only think about or talk about Corrales' crushing power. Tonight, he expects to find out exactly how it feels and how he'll react if Chico connects. The power of Corrales has been his godsend, but against the smothering attack of Castillo, the answer may be the jab. Chico not used to fighters actually coming at him of late. With Freitas and Castillo, his last two opponents, very different story tonight. Here we go. And maybe one we should remember right from the get-go, Diego Corrales came up from junior lightweight, ultimately beat Freitas for the title. Castillo is a big, strong lightweight who's been at this weight class for essentially his whole career. Castillo never drops from KO. He's been stopped 4 times on cuts. However, he is historically a slow starter, particularly his last couple of fights. Instead of Corrales comes at him, it'll be a brawl, a grueling slugfest. Interesting to see what tack Corrales takes here at the outset. And already we're seeing Corrales happy to stay on the inside with Castillo. We'll see how this plays out. He's trading hooks with Castillo. He's staying right in there with him. Some would say that's a mistake. We'll see. He is looking Corrales to force a shootout with Castillo. Looking to establish an early presence, just as he said he would, knowing Castillo is a slow starter and gets stronger as the fight goes on. Already Tony Weeks with a warning to Castillo, and Castillo's a rough customer on the inside. He'll lose his head, elbows, etc. Some call it dirty. High body work by Corrales early, Steve. That's interesting. There it is. Castillo coming right back. He said to beat Corrales, you have to stay close. Throw a lot of punches, pressure. Don't let Chico think. This is going to be a great fight. I can tell you right now. Corrales is making it have to be a great fight. They will look to wear each other down. In other words, as mentioned before, a river of attrition perhaps. On the surface of it, as you hear the fans chanting for Castillo and a lot of Mexican fans here for Cinco de Mayo, on the surface of it, you would think this is a very risky move for Corrales. But so far, he's not making it work. Good punching by Corrales, getting the caution from Tony Weeks. A solid, highly regarded referee. Great body work by Corrales. Now, how about this so far? Corrales has rapid punched and punched the envelope, so he's the guy that's pushing the envelope. Usually it's Castillo playing for those roughouse tactics. Corrales claims he sparred 16 rounds one day with 4 sparring partners. He said, I am as ready as I can ever be. Atop a monster training camp, 23 different fights all told. One of his sparring partners, Jose Santa Cruz. And here's an exchange as they go toe-to-toe as advertised in the center of the ring. And I think the one mistake Corrales is making
Yeah. Thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's a privilege, Anna.
Funny how those things line up. Like it could have been Mike Tyson. Versus Roy Jones Jr. when they're both in their prime.
Right. That's true. I really like the way Bernard Hopkins was able to. You saw the way he done Tarver. I think that was amazing the way he just dissected.
Hopkins shuts people down. When he fought Felix Trinidad, I will never forget that because everybody thought that Felix Trinidad was this young up and coming lion, and I believe Bernard was about 36 at the time, and people were writing him off. But Bernard Hopkins beat the brakes off of Felix Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that fight. I'm like, my God.
Yeah, he done the same thing with a guy I used to manage, Winky Wright.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Winky Wright was a great defensive fighter, too.
Oh, yeah.
He was so clever.
Yeah.
So clever. Well, I mean, how about what he did with Kelly Pavlik?
Oh, yeah.
That was another. Everybody was like, well, now for sure it's over.
Right.
You know, this is years past Felix Trinidad. Kelly Pavlik's a knockout artist.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, well, this is going to be the one.
No.
Yeah.
Sweet science, he had it down pat.
Well, he was just so smart at being safe and roughing you up and knowing how to be like aggressive on the inside and clinching you and frustrating guys. And just his fundamental, he was never out of position. Yeah. His fundamentals are so good. His defense is so good.
Yeah. No, it's one of them special type of fighters for a long time.
Long time. World class. Deep into his late 40s.
Yeah.
World class.
I mean,
crazy. I mean, well, that's why he had to change his nickname from the Executioner to the Alien. Because people are like, how the fuck are you doing this?
Yeah. Push-ups between rounds.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. No, he's extraordinary. I love his story, too, because when he went to jail and then got out, one of the guards said, I'll see you back in here.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembers that guy. And remember using that as motivation. Like, the fuck you will.
Yeah.
Whoops. You got crazy, Jamie. Do we have a broom?
We can get some.
All right, we'll leave that alone for now. It's just a glass.
Yeah.
But it's the whole sport of boxing is there's a lot of life in that. It's like what you put in is what you achieve. Like your results are dependent upon the way you process things and the way you approach things.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much to that. And that's one of the things that I love so much about combat sports is that how much you put into that is what you get out of it.
That's right. You know, it's just like the universal laws of life. You know, you reap what you sow. And if you decide to take a shortcut, it's going to show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to show.
Now, as a person that is, you're so invested in discipline and respect and honor, like it's kind of a perfect sport for you to be involved in a lot of ways because it represents so many of those different aspects of human character.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I hadn't thought of it in that aspect, but you're right. You know, you're right. But I'm just in love with the sport of boxing, and it's just been that way since I was a kid for some reason, like a magnet. I remember seeing Don King with the hair and Muhammad Ali, and man, I was mesmerized. Like, wow, that looks special.
I got interested in boxing when I was a little kid. My parents were hippies. Like, they weren't into boxing. Yeah. But when Muhammad Ali had a rematch with Leon Spinks, after Muhammad Ali lost his title to Leon Spinks and then had a rematch, my parents made us all watch it. because Muhammad Ali represented way more than boxing to the culture, to human beings at the time.
Yeah.
He represented this guy who stood up against the Vietnam War, who stood up for people in a way that he risked his career.
Oh, yeah.
Got shut down for 3 years in his prime.
Yeah.
After arguably like one of his most devastating performances. He fought Cleveland Big Cat Williams, lights him up like a Christmas tree, and then they make him take 3 years off. Just because he wouldn't fight in the Vietnam War.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Ali actually put his life on the line.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I call him the greatest of all time, because of the things he done outside of the ring and the things he stood for.
Yeah, he was something other than just a world champion, other than just a boxer.
Yeah.
And I remember when my parents, I don't know how old I was at the time, I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, but when my parents made me sit down and watch that fight, I remember thinking, I can't believe my parents give a fuck about boxing. Like, what is this? And I think that was what got me really interested in boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bigger than boxing when Ali took this.
Yes.
That stage, man. He special. I went to his funeral, and I never had experience like that with all the cultures and different things. I was like stunned. Wow. You know, people from all over the world was there speaking.
Really?
Yeah. It was really interesting.
Well, I mean, when he was alive, he was the most famous human being on earth.
Yeah. You know, I guess hearing about that was one thing, but to actually be sitting there and witnessing, you know, all these different people from around the world, you know, what he meant to them, I was like, wow. He was a special guy.
He was a special guy, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned, both good and bad, from his life as well.
Yeah.
You know, particularly about the end of his career.
Right.
Some of the saddest shit, and not just that, but the way he was taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And you know that his need for money, that he had not prepared properly and invested properly, and just lived a little too loose and wild, and then had to take those fights, like with Trevor Berbick.
Yeah.
Those were sad fights.
Yeah, definitely the one with who was that he fought? Not
Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes. Oh man, I left that fight kind of upset with Holmes.
Yeah, a lot of people were.
You know what I mean? I really think he went that extra. He didn't have to, but he went there.
Well, he was his sparring partner.
Yeah.
He was Ali's sparring partner for a long time, and I think there was probably a bridge he had to cross to consider himself like the real champion, and I think it ruined his career. Yeah. Because I think Larry Holmes never really got the respect that he deserved because of that, because people resented him for, you know, for doing that, and then also just living in the shadow of Ali.
Yeah, you can only imagine how many whoopings he took from Ali coming up.
Yeah.
You know, that thing went deeper than what was in front of the TV.
The problem is we didn't see that. All we saw was this beloved champion who was this cultural icon get the shit beat out of him by this young, up-and-coming champion.
Yeah, just like with Kobe and Jordan. I remember seeing Kobe like shit Jordan down in an All-Star game, and I was like, man, raise up, Kobe. Let Jordan shine his last game, you know. But Kobe wasn't trying to hear it.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
At least that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Because in basketball, it's, you know, it might have felt terrible for Jordan.
Yeah.
But it's not a beating.
Right.
That's the thing about boxing is you pay for it with your health.
Yeah.
And those consequences, the consequences of a big, like, Meldrick Taylor was never the same after the Julio Cesar Chavez fight. It was never the same.
Oh, wasn't that a brutal fight, man?
Brutal fight.
Man.
When Richard Steele stopped, there was like 2 seconds to go on the clock or something crazy.
Whoa.
But that's a great example that I always use of a fight where the fighter is never the same again.
Yeah.
You don't recover from some fights. Some fights take all of it out of you.
Yeah, leave it right there.
Yeah. He was never the same after that.
Never.
And then I remember his fight with Terry Norris after that.
Yeah.
You could see that he was just not the same. He wasn't the same guy.
And Terry is not the same guy.
He's not the same guy now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he had a lot of rough fights too. Julian Jackson.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, you're a real student of boxing.
Love
man.
boxing. Love it. The Hawk.
Feel like I'm sitting there talking to an encyclopedia, man. You know the game, man.
Yeah, well, Julian Jackson was one of those rare special punchers.
Oh, man.
Special power.
Yeah.
You know? But then when Julian met Gerald McClellan, Gerald McClellan was like, I'll show you a special puncher.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and look what happened with him.
That's another one, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things that I talked to Roy about, that made Roy like really second guess and think about his career, because when Gerald McClellan was coming up, he was thought to be the big rival for Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that's going to be the big fight. When those two guys get together, that is going to be our version of in that weight class at that time of what we want to see with Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like two just destroyers.
Right.
Like what happens? What happens when you get these guys together? I want to see.
Right.
And then Gerald fought Nigel Benn. Whew, what a fight that was.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That was you can still watch it to this day, and what a fucking war that was. And the fact that Nigel Benn made it out of that first round.
Yeah, unbelievable.
What heart.
Unbelievable.
What heart.
Yeah.
I mean, Gerald McClellan was nuking everybody. Just nuked them. Just boom, boom.
Yeah.
And Nigel Benn threw the ropes and everything, where everyone's like, this fight's over.
Yeah.
Nope.
It kind of, you never had opportunity to see him come to fruition, and that reminded me of Ike Ibuchi.
Ike Ibuchi, yes.
That's a heavyweight. I would have really liked
Oh, my God.
He's a beast, right?
When he beat David Tua, everybody was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Ike Ibuchi was terrifying.
Yeah, he was.
But he got in some serious trouble, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Las Vegas.
Well, there was talk of him coming back at 40 years old. He was going to get released from prison.
Yeah, he got out.
He did get out.
Yeah, he got out. It just didn't work.
Yeah, it was too late.
I went and visited him when he was in jail in Las Vegas. And, man, they brought him out in shackles, and the guards are like, you here to visit him, man? He been beating up all the cellmates, the inmates, the guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was letting them have it in there.
That is the last dude you want to talk shit to in jail. Ike Ibuchi.
Yeah.
God damn.
He's a beast, man.
Woo!
Like a big Holyfield.
Yeah. Huge.
Dangerous.
Jacked.
Yeah.
What they call him, the president? That was his nickname, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My God, he was a tank.
Man, special dude.
And when he went to jail, everybody was, boxing fans were like, oh no. He just, whatever he had, that rage inside the ring.
Yeah.
That rage continued throughout life. So, cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm enjoying every moment.
What do you think about these guys that are decided to fight again in their 50s? Guys like Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., now Holyfield as well.
I enjoyed the last fight.
I did too.
Yeah, I think it's different, but I like it as long as they don't jump in with these younger guys.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel.
I love the change.
I
enjoy both of them coming out of the ring like they went in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Of course, they got them a payday. So I like it. I'm really looking forward to seeing Holyfield and Tyson fight.
Holyfield has been working nonstop. Nonstop.
Yeah.
Holyfield's a unique character, man.
Yeah.
He's unbreakable.
One of my favorites.
He might lose.
Yeah.
He might lose to people, but that's just because of the limitations of the human body, not because of his mind.
Yeah.
Like, his mind is unbreakable. That guy has confidence in himself that never ends.
Oh, man.
And character. Just the ability to drive forward and conquer. Those fights with Riddick Bowe, my God. My God. Crazy wars with Riddick Bowe.
Yeah.
War. People forget about those wars.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. When I was a kid, when watching those fights, like, you'd be like, this is madness.
Yeah.
These guys were going to war.
Couldn't believe his chin. Holyfield got a chin like none other.
Like nobody. Incredible.
And it been that way.
That shows you how good James Toney is, because James Toney stopped him.
Yeah.
And I watched that fight recently.
Yeah.
And James Toney's a middleweight. How about that? James Toney at his best.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a technical beast.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest shit talkers of all time. He would talk so much shit, just in sparring, in fights, everything.
Yeah, at the ring.
Yes. No, James Toney's he's amazing.
That's the home.
I ran into James Toney a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
At there was a bar in Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
And I was with some friends. I went to meet them. Sat down. Was with my wife and a couple of her friends as well. We're having a drink, and this dude walks in with a suit, and they're like, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Who is that?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that?" I got up out of the chair. I go, "That's James fucking Toney."
Yeah.
And I went over and gave him a hug and said hi to him. Yeah. He had fought in the UFC a few years earlier.
Oh yeah.
He fought Randy Couture. Yeah.
It didn't last long.
He just took a payday. I don't think he was really training for it.
Yeah.
He lived in my neighborhood at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I ran into him at the gas station afterwards.
Right.
Like a couple weeks after the fight. I was like, "What's up, James? How you doing?" I was like, "I'm good. I'm good."
So those guys, the boxers are kind of out of line when they decide to go in there dealing with that UFC business.
It takes a long time to learn, but I think if they approach it correctly, if they're young while they get involved and they approach it correctly. See, I think one of the more interesting entrants into mixed martial arts is Claressa Shields.
Oh yeah.
Because Claressa is a beast of an athlete.
Right.
I mean, incredible athlete and young.
Yeah.
She's young. She can still learn all this stuff. Olympic gold medalist, world champion boxer, tremendous hand speed, technical boxing skills, off the charts. Then she goes and trains with John Jones. Yeah. John Jones is the greatest of all time. So she's training with the greatest of all time, and she's learning the wrestling, the takedown defense, and she's going to have such an advantage with her hands. And every fight starts standing up. She's going to learn.
All right, guys. I got to go grab something to eat. I'm hungry as fuck. It's only 9 o'clock. I might come back up here in a little while. Catch you guys later. Yep. Peace.